Hey, this is Chris Buono, and this is Street Smarts, brought to you by Bog Street. Today's conversation is something I call legato picking. I know that sounds like something that shouldn't go together. It's kind of like a guitar oxymoron, but hear me out. This is a technique I put together to help me get from point A to point B. And the points are what I just did, ascending and descending a 3-note per string scale. I just wanted to do that to be able to sound like that, but I wasn't doing it with conventional alternate picking, just straight up, down, and going across the strings, dealing with outside and inside pivots. Inside pivots is what did it. So I put together a sequence of techniques that allowed me to do what I wanted to do. So I came up with my own thing, and I always encourage people to come up with their own thing that fits their style so they can get from point A to point B. So here's mine. I just played you an A Dorian scale, 3-note per string, starting right here. Now, I just did my technique there on the ascent. There's two different ways to do it, one on the ascent, one on the descent. When I'm ascending, I play down, up, down, cool, alternate picking, but I don't do the outside pivot upstroke to the next string. It's not uncomfortable. It's just the rest of what needs to happen. That's where the change starts. So what I did is I played a hybrid picking thing with my second finger. So I did down, up, down, and then I used my middle finger, P2, to play the next note on the adjacent string. Then I followed that with a downstroke, which then activates a hammer-on. Hence my legato picking. Maybe we should call it hybrid legato picking. We could talk about that later. Now on the way down, things are a little different. When I get up to the highest note with that hammer-on I was talking about, I start to descend, and I immediately play a pull-off with an upstroke. And then as I progress to the next strings, which are all 3-note per string, I play the same thing. Downstroke, upstroke to a pull-off. Downstroke, upstroke to a pull-off. Downstroke to an upstroke to a pull-off. So there's a bunch of things going on here that I like. Some things I didn't even know were there until I started getting into it and paying more attention. First and foremost, I noticed that I had the facility to do what I wanted to do. And that was to be able to play like that and do it freely and do it consistently. And I think what it is that makes it happen is I'm avoiding that inside pivot. And how I do that is the down, up, down on the lower string is not followed by the normal upstroke, which totally feels comfortable on the outside pivot. I do the hybrid picking because that allows me to do a downstroke and hammer-on on the next two notes. And that's how I get out of the inside pivot thing. Just by doing that. The inside pivot is taken out of the mix. It's something I don't deal with when I ascend or when I descend, but most importantly on the ascent, that's where I was getting killed. Also, as an added benefit, I was noticing that I had this variation inside of what I was playing that was very cool. So I'm playing with alternate picking on the bottom. I'm using a Bog Street battle axe. It's got a certain tone that I really dig. It also has certain shape to the edges, which are all the same on each side. And I know that I'm going to get a consistent result that sounds like this. I love the way that it cuts, I love the way that it sounds, I love the way that it feels, all that stuff. But when I start doing a hybrid picking thing on the next adjacent string, it's got a different attack, it's got a different articulation, it's got a different timbre. And then I follow that with a legato move. So I like the variation that's going on per adjacent string set. And the same thing happens on the descent, even though I'm playing something a little different. So let's just say I start right from there with the downstroke on the top of this, and I do this. So I have the sound of the pick, as I just talked about before, and then I also have the articulation, the sound of the legato move. So I have the downstroke, upstroke to a pull-off. All together, as I go up and down, ascend and descend, I have these weaving sounds that are coming in and out, and I really, really like that. So legato picking, think about that. Maybe that's the answer that you've been looking for, or maybe you're right around the corner from discovering your own version of an alternative way to get you from the technique that you're at now and where you want to go to. This is Chris Buono. This is Street Smarts from Bog Street. I'll see you on the next one.